Satu Day. What's happening, guys? Happy Father's Day. Hope y'all are doing well. I know the last video I was a little bit rambling. Mateo even made a comment that I sounded like an auctioneer. Oh, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I got all kind of crazy, but that's kind of how I am when I get all excited, right? I just kind of flow at the mouth, if you will. I know that's a weird one. Last week we was talking about Blake Show, the happenings, and all that stuff like that. And sometimes you take away stuff from that show, and you're like, like I really missed. I wish I would have got that one or whatever else, you know. And the one for me this year was Les George VCP. He had some Damascus that were hand ground there. As I was going to get Sean his VCP button lock, these were kind of sitting next to it. I left. Stoss and I were sitting there kind of commenting about how smooth they were compared to even the regular VECPs and how thinly ground they were compared to the regular VECPs. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, I'm going to walk away, come back. If they're still there, I'll probably buy one. When I came back, they was gone. So, like, always in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, should I have gotten that? Shouldn't I have got that? So, long story short, they were gone from the Blade Show. But on the way home from Blade Show, or maybe shortly thereafter, I saw this one pop up on the Blade forums, and I snagged it. Oh, I'm sorry, I already added the RGT pocket clip to it. I had it here in stock. I think I got this one when I was thinking about doing the mods for the tier, the pocket clips for the tier, just to see what would work and what wouldn't. But anyway, I had it here. As soon as I saw that stock spring clip, I was like, yeah, that's going to match the Damascus better. And it kind of does. It goes way better to me. The other one was a little bit lighter. I may do some work to this one in the future, but this is kind of one of the ones that, like, when I saw it, something about it, it's like an elegance thing. I don't know what it is. Like, it's some blades just kind of sing to you, right? And this one just sang to me. I think this one's going to be more of a collector piece than an actual user. Not that I didn't know this before, but I think at this point I could pretty much call myself a major collector and slight user. I mean, if we're being honest, like, I got a lot of knives that I don't use, like, on a daily basis. Like, I carry them once in a while, and I really don't want to get rid of them because I like the collection part of it. So, had BECPs before. I've sold them, and most of the time I sold those ones in the past were because of money, and I wanted to buy something else. This one, it wasn't inexpensive. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like holy crap expensive either. At this point, this is kind of like my normal wheelhouse of a price range, and I think I'm just gonna hold on to this one for a collection point of view. Like, it's kind of like that. The CRKs were for me for a while. It's like, I like that left pocket. Sometimes you want a little bit more of a elegant kind of looking knife, and that's, I don't know, I kind of get the vibes from this one. I hope you guys do too. Hope you see what I'm seeing in it. Just different, right? And the fact that it's hollow hand ground. He didn't say he ground them by hand, but he just said they were hollow ground. So I don't really care. Like, I've got knives that I've got reground by other people. Let's see, just sitting right here. This one was Mike Cuddy Cuts reground that one. Like, he didn't make the knife, but he reground it. Like, doesn't make it any less of a Crusader because Mike ground it versus, I think the guy's name's Magic that makes Crusaders, but it doesn't make any difference. No, to me, it's cool because it's hollow ground. It's nice and thin. It feels good for that style knife. I think that's will be perfect for that. Like, I'm not going to hard use it, so a thin blade stock, thin little knife like that. And most people would call this thick, but to me, this is fairly thin. I think I like it the way it is. Um, Man, I'm kind of sideways on this video because I already recorded a video, and for some reason it went into slow-mo. I have zero clue why it went into slow-mo. I've never had a problem recording my phone before. It's the first glitch I've ever had. I couldn't tell you why. So last week also I was showing you the Tier XL, and I knew my buddy Jose wanted to check it out. A couple other guys had mentioned they want to check it out, and I'll get to you guys next. Send it to you guys next whenever Jose gets done with it. No rush to anybody who ever borrows my knife. I never like, hey, but I need a week, and then you send it. No, just take your time. Do whatever you need to do. That goes for everybody that I've ever lent knives to. I think most people know that I've lent knives to, but just in case you didn't know. But anyhow, Jose's got that and the Luther Warnock right now. And him and I are very much aligned with what we like in collection right now. Like, there's a lot of the collectors that I see that we share, the kind of overlap in certain areas. Jose is one that, like, he buys a knife. I'm like, damn, that's sick. And I buy a knife. He's like, damn, that's sick. So we both like kind of feed each other in the whole, we like what we like kind of thing. So I'm gonna start with a gift from him, or a gift to him from, I believe it said his wife gave him this knife. This is the, I got to read it, guys. TS 346. So this is kind of like the Chinese Bruiser Light, if you will. So good size blade thickness, a little bit thin on the tie, but not like, it's for a normal person. This is definitely what they would consider a bruiser. It's Bruiser Light for me. On phosphor bronze, that's really cool. Action's not like a bearing knife, and it has a weird feel detent. Like, no way to describe, but it's kind of sort of like, I don't know. Let's see if I can do it. It has a detent. It doesn't have a personality detent. It's not like it's sucking it right in. It's not like there's a ton of lock bar pressure where it like snaps it out. Like, it's just a, I don't know, man. It's hard to describe. That's the thing about the Chinese knives. They lack that little personality or maybe quirk in the manufacturing or something for me that, like, I'm not saying this is a bad knife at all. Like, I really like this knife. Actually, it's just like, there's a quirk about it that's not quite, it doesn't have the personality that I want in a knife. Obviously, it's got the lightning anno, I believe, or maybe that's some kind of special tie, but I think it's lightning anno on the tie. And he was mentioning something about maybe possibly getting a refinish, but I think because it's a gift, he's a little reluctant to do anything with it, which I completely 100% understand. But it's a cool knife to check out. And if any of you guys are on a budget that like the Bruisers, because I know not all of you can afford some of these stupid $1,000 knives or whatever else these things cost, definitely check this one out if you're into that style. Like, it's definitely worth checking out. Like, it is Chinese manufacturing, and if you're fine with that, then get it. And if you're not, then that's cool too, man. Like, I don't really judge you as the end user from what you buy. I don't care. It's your money. Do what you want with it. I just don't personally take a lot of pride in having Chinese manufactured knives in my collection. But I'm not preaching. I'm just letting y'all know that don't know already. All right. So that was the first one he let. So this one I've talked about actually briefly last week, was like going to Miller Brothers, and they didn't really have anything. We got to check out some of these ones. Me and Dan Brooke were hanging out at the time. And this is the Miller T1. They were all sold out of these like super quick, and they have some mini versions of these. When I say mini, they're like just a little bit shorter. And that's the one that I'm sorry, is Nate? I want to say Nate, but I want to say Nick too. So I'm not sure if it's Nick or Nate. Showed me before on the way in the blood show that first day, Friday, that he had nabbed one of them, and it was only 2 made, so he was lucky enough to grab one of those. This is a beast of a knife, man. This is absolutely huge. Like, thickness wise, you're talking about quarter inch, and quarter inch, like all stock, and stock. Like, it's a beast. It's absolutely a big, thick, chunky boy. And it's the blade is actually deceiving because it's got the swedge on it, and it doesn't look as thick. But if you look back in here, you can see it's just as thick as the titanium and stuff. It's ridiculously huge. So whether you're into this style or not, like, this definitely has a unique personality. It's kind of sort of like the Heaters and even Crusaders and DSKs, where they have this precisionness and handmade element to them at the same time. And like, for whatever reason, it's what I'm really into right now. I like this precision versus and hand element kind of thing. I don't like just all precision. I don't like all hand element. I like the mixture, and I kind of think this is like more like the stuff that I'm kind of into, like, as of late. You know, like even the Old Dominion Chupacabra and the Zilla. Like, this is a lot of hand element, but yet there's a lot of preciseness to it too, like in the machining. So I think he did a great job. They did a great job. I'm pretty sure one of the brothers is mainly the folder guy, but I don't know their names or anything like that. I'm not gonna act like I know them. You can see this is pretty much the base model, so it's just tied, and it's got these, like, I'm gonna call this probably more than likely as a acetylene kind of rakes across it. It could be something else, but normally if you heat it up super high, you're gonna get other purples and stuff around it. So I'm assuming it's something super high, moving super quick to give you those kind of features, but I don't know for sure. Thumb studs that are also stop pins, but this is a thumb studs up front, not the ones in the back, but they're the same size and the same kind of hardware. They are a little bit weird because, like, honestly, when you go to get with your thumb, like, the thumb's not as bad, but you're used to that ramp that most people put on their thumb studs, you know, like a little something that's like contoured, you know, like that. Like, we got a little bit of, you know, I hope you can see it behind my thumb, where you can kind of get to it, and it kind of goes with your thumb a little bit. It's not that abrasive 90-degree corner on the edge of that. So that is a downside for me on these. And I didn't realize it. Like, I've never messed with them other than at the show, but I mean, you can still manipulate it. It's phosphor bronze. You can still manipulate it fine. It's just not the most comfortable on the deployment. But this isn't really more. This is less of a fidgety knife than I thought it would be. This is definitely more of a beast. Like, it wants to be used, but it's so pretty you don't want to use it. I don't know how to describe that. Like, it's, for me, this is a weird. Like, I'm glad that Jose let me borrow this thing because I'm really. I thought I'd feel differently about it. Even the finish on the blade, you see how that's like left. They left some of this, like, I don't know if it's sandblast or whatever, and didn't coat it all the way, and then they put the edge around the. I don't know if you. Hopefully that comes out in video where you can actually see what I'm talking about there. But it's strange, man. It's almost like they try to make it look like a Hamon almost, but it doesn't come up into the blade. I don't know. It's just weird. All over, like, very different stylistically of the knife. Even though, like, I think almost everybody can look back and they see these and then go, it looks like a Praetorian, or at least one of the early day Praetorians, and I would agree that they're probably influenced by that. But the knife itself doesn't look anything like a Praetorian. They did their own thing, kind of sort of like the Direware style standoffs, kind of sort of the heater style pocket clip, like a lot of variants, and I've seen in some of the other ones. Like, this is a heater right here, so you can see the pocket clips. See if I can turn it the same way so you can actually see what I'm talking about. A lot of similarities there, right? Overall, really cool knife. Like, but these things are now. This is the base model, from what I know. These are now $1,500 starting price. So you got to really like this thing to kind of jump on it. And I believe what Jose said was he don't really carry this one much. He just kind of to show a couple of people. But it's such a big, heavy knife. Like, it's kind of like that one that Will let me borrow from WC Blade Works. Is it Half Breed? I always get it messed up. Not Half Face, Half Breed Blade Works, I believe is what it is. That one that he let me borrow is like, it's super big and heavy, and that's what this one kind of reminds me of. It's like it's big and heavy, and it's like almost, dare I say it, dang, I guess I will, it's almost too thick for me. Like, I don't know why. Like, sizes are so weird. Like, it's something you got to get used to, but this thing is really heavy for not gaining a whole lot as far as blade goes to get that heaviness. Kind of like that Half Breed was the same way. You know, it's like you're not gaining a whole lot to get the heaviness, but you got, it's super, super heavy. So it's not that I dislike this one at all. And I think if I own one, I think I probably would beat the shit out of it. But, like, you know, it's just one of those ones that I just don't want to. I don't want to. It's too nice, man. It hasn't been used enough for me to. I don't know. It's like a new car kind of thing. I just want to set it down and leave it there. Like, I don't. You know, like, intuitively I want to use it, but, like, it's so nice that I just want to leave it sit there. So obviously phosphor bronze. I don't know if I said that or not, but you know, I was surprised because when I first started collecting big heavy bruisers, I wouldn't even buy a bearing knife. I hated bearing knives. I was all about the phosphor bronze. Now the vast majority of my collection is now bearing knives, which I didn't really set that, you know, purpose. I didn't really mean to do that, but these all seem to be bearing knives, and the action on them is better because of the bearings, but you lose some of that functionality if you're in that adverse environment like a machine shop. So yeah, some of these are less work knives than they used to be, but my job has changed and I'm not in the shop every day. Like, and if I go to the shop, I'm very well likely going to take at least one big heavy phosphor bronze kind of knife. Like, that's these things still have a very much a place in my heart, the phosphor bronze big guys. So that's kind of a mixed bag on the T1 for me. Right? If they were a little cheaper on price, I would probably go for one. I think as they're sitting right now, and I think Dan Brock was with me when we were looking at the Millers, and I'm pretty sure they told us 2,000 was like the average price of a T1 now. That's a little more than what I want to pay for one. Like, honestly, if I'm being honest, they're just not quite there yet. And Jose got in on these before the price jumped up, so I don't know what he paid, but I know he didn't pay the premium that they are asking for now. So once again, thanks, Jose. Let me borrow both of those. But this last one, this third one, is like, I'm blown away that he even lent it to me. So y'all know that I've been talking about the Rogovics. Like, this is my newest Rhino. This is the one that's contoured S45, contoured scales, copper backspacer. This is the one I pretty much had him make for me. Damn it, man. Sometimes behind the camera, you just suck, and that's what I am. Suck less, son. All right. Absolute beast. I love these little Rogovics. Everything I've handled from him so far has been nothing but top notch. This is the one that I got from Steve Clare when Steve Clare loaned it in. I ended up sending it back to him, and then I was like, hey, if you decide you want to get rid of it, and he was like, yeah, man, I know you liked it that much. So he sold it to me. So, man, I just like the action on this one better than the other one. Like, the action on this old one is so much better. This is either 17 or 18. I can't remember. And you know, obviously this other one was just made in 23. So, you know, a good span of time in between it and not much difference as far as quality goes. I mean, he has refined things, but as far as that quality, these are still top notch, even from that long ago. Which brings me to the last one that Jose let me. Sorry, I'm rambling, but y'all expect it now, right? I hope you do. Sitting and bullshitting is kind of a Sunday thing, right? Um, this is the XR3. This is a Rogovitz that's been sitting on the shelf that was new and just hadn't been sold, which I don't know how that is possible because I've been looking for Rogovitz now. Like, I've been scouring, looking for different models that I might be interested in. And some of them are a little funky on the design wise, but I guarantee every one of them, if they speak to you as far as the style goes, I guarantee the quality's there. That's what I can say from what I've seen of Rogovitz so far. But anyway, this one came to Jose and it had this little blemish right here in the finish. And I guess the retailer didn't notice. He asked the retailer about it. They said to contact the maker. The maker, Rogovitz, said that he was super swamped right now and he would get to it, but just give him a couple weeks. He would fix it up for him. So I thought that was super cool of him. But unbeknownst to me, or maybe I was just ignorant in the fact, I don't know, maybe he did tell me and I didn't realize it. I don't think Jose even used this thing. It got to me and it still had that like that thick, heavy, I was going to say cosmoline, but it's not cosmoline, but whatever they put on it to protect the Damascus for sitting on the shelf. It still had that on the blade. So Jose didn't even use this thing. He just sent it to me. The first couple times I started flicking it, I noticed that the detent track was wearing in on the Damascus and I'd have to wipe that detent ball clean, you know, and then do it again. And it, you know, a couple times of doing that and finally getting a nice track worn in. You can see now this thing is wearing in good. Action is absolutely money. And like, I go through phases when I like certain people's knives. Like, well, you know, lately here it's been DSK. Like, I think I've gotten every DSK that I've seen from him that I really wanted to have. I've at least had one, and whether I, you know, traded it or sold it or kept it is a different story. But like, I've seen a lot of his work, and I pretty much have a good grasp that there's not a whole lot left in his inventory or what he makes that I need to have at this point. So I'm probably about done with the DSKs as far as collecting. I might get some special ones made here and there, but I think Rogovitz is the next maker for me. Like, I absolutely love this freaking knife. So that, you know, it's whether the style is for you, whether the airbrush is for you, it's kind of like this other one for me. Like, I would have never picked this orange fade, kind of the black. I would have never picked it, but this as a knife fits me so well that like I honestly don't care what it looks like. I don't even want to pull it apart to look in the inside because it's too perfect the way it is. Like, there's very few knives that I can say that about. But this one was kind of the same way. I got it a couple, you know, cleaned that detent a little bit. I ended up putting a little bit of that what's that grease that OCD for EDC guys? Yeah, whatever that shit is. Y'all know what it is. Put some of that on the detent ball, and this thing is absolutely the best beast flipper. Direware used to have that crown for me. Direware don't hold nothing on this one. It really doesn't. Like, if you're into the Direwares and like that real snappy flipper action, try your Rogovitz flipper. I'm telling you, dude, this thing is huge, and it still flips like a freaking beast, man. So, you know, I'm pretty sure it's all 3/16. They're really close to there too. Nice big thick copper backspacer. This thing is just a beautiful knife, man. Absolutely beautiful knife. And man, Jose, I really can't thank you enough for loaning this to me, man. This really has set me up into the whole Rogovitz phase, and I'm definitely going to be pursuing more of. I keep flipping it around, showing you guys. It's just one of those, man. It speaks to me, man. So if you see this little brass insert up top, think it was mine. I'd probably end up putting thumb studs in there. I have seen other variations. We did have thumb studs on it. But I absolutely love this knife. And like, I don't know, like my wife and I were even talking, like, what would you do if that was yours? I was like, I don't know. I'd probably just sand it, let it look like it's been faded out into the titanium right there and just leave it as is. Like, I don't think I'd even send it back personally, but I get why you spend this kind of money and you want it perfect. Like, this is super fancy, pretty knife, but at the same time, like, I want to absolutely take this thing and put it to work. Like, it is absolute. It just is begging to go for work. It really is. Like, I love this freaking knife. And because I love it so much, I'm going to send it back to Jose either Monday or Tuesday, because if I keep it longer, I'm going to start throwing money his way. Like, I'm going to try to, like, start bribing it. I don't want to take somebody's knife away from him. That's kind of what sort of happened with this one, and I still feel bad about it from Steve Clare, though, and I got this one from him. But I absolutely fell in love with that Rogovitz, and it's the maker I'm chasing right now, I believe. So anyway, almost 20 minutes. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I hope you all have a great week. We'll figure out something else next week to talk about, right? All right, y'all be cool. Later.